3 hours. Like it just like it was like it knackered me out in a second.
Really? Like being struck by lightning, was it?
I don't know. I've been struck by lightning, so I can't tell you.
No. Was how you would imagine to be.
It was a bit of imagine to be, But I remember thinking I remember thinking, well, the wiring's very bad in this hotel, and I remember that comment made by the Duke of Edinburgh, His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh, about this looked like it's been wired by an Indian. Remember when he said that?
No, I don't
yeah, he was in trouble for saying that. And then when I got the electric shock in Goa, I have to say, God forgive me, I did think twice about the judgment I'd reached about that particular comment he made. Anyway, let's move on from that.
I went to New York once for Christmas and New Year. I went with Simon Day, Tommy Cockles, aka the guy on the Power Gen adverts, and his girlfriend Magda, and they rowed the whole time. In fact, he checked into another hotel separate from her in the end, and she wouldn't. It was a nightmare. He flicked her in the eye with a napkin in the Art Deco seafood restaurant underneath Grand Central Station. And
on purpose?
No, yeah, but it was just supposed to. You know, you just went it was supposed to be. Oh, shut up, dush, like that, and he went. Right in her eye, and screaming abdabs and everything. But on Christmas Day, my dad sent me a telegram and a bottle of champagne to be brought to our table at Christmas dinner in the Algonquin Hotel, and I cried because I missed home. I missed being with my family, really. And it's freezing New York at Christmas. It's a -11 wind chill.
India was great. It's wonderful.
Is it really nice? I thought it was full of hippies and students, Goa.
It is.
Right.
It is, but
if you ignore that.
But you can eat for it's one of the things where you can eat on the beach for 10p, you know.
Right.
You can feed a family of 5 for 10 pence for the whole day. You're talking about buying things cheaply, which is a subject that I grew up with a lot. Is that, people come in and go, guess how much this cost me? Guess how much this cost me? Peter Bainham, who wrote Partially with Me, gave a great story when he said his stepfather came in with a Eubank carpet sweeper. I don't know why it makes me laugh. He came in, guess how much this cost me? Guess how much this cost me? He went 5p. 5p for a carpet sweeper. Anyway, let's
that's amazing.
Let's get back in the festive spirit with a lovely little song by Bing Crosby and David Bowie. It is, of course, Peace on Earth, If Only, by the Little Drummer Boy is the other part of the title. That's the Peace on Earth, Little Drummer Boy, Bing Crosby and David Bowie.
It's actually quite nice.
Very sadly, of course, David Bowie is still with us. Sorry, Bing Crosby is no longer with us. Sorry, that's right. Anyway, so we're having a great time here on Christmas. I've got my annual that's tucked in the spare room in my parents' house. Very interesting fact here. By the way, just to let you know, Mike, who's in the studio with us, my brother's going to be interviewing him on his show, all about Mike. Mike spent a year and a half flying around Africa in a microlight aircraft and a second-hand beaten-up Land Rover. I don't quite know why. I've known him since a childhood. I've still not got an acceptable reason why he did it. But he did do it, and he's written a book about it. He's had some rejections, but I do believe he will eventually get it published. And there's a fact here, so stick with it. Novelist John Creasy of Bodenham received 743 rejection slips before his first book was accepted. Since then, he has had 549 novels published under 25 different names. There you go, Mike. Now, we're going to move on. We're going to have another Christmas story now, read to us by the inimitable John Thomson of Cold Feet, Fast Show, but more importantly, Fat Bob fame. And John is going to read, tell us a lovely Christmas story. And the music underneath I thought we'd choose is the music from Cinema Paradiso. What a lovely, sad tearjerker of a film that was. Anyway, John's Christmas story.
I think it was... some time ago, I was the age of 17, I'm 17 years old, and I was approached by my Auntie Dorothy.
I'm crying already, I don't know why.
I know, it's very moving. I was approached by my Auntie Dorothy, who's sadly no longer with us. She passed away last Christmas, so, yes, God rest her soul. And my Auntie Dorothy worked for Barclays Bank in Preston, and approached me because she knew I had a attention deficit and a desire to entertain people, and said,
never.
Would you be Father Christmas in Barclays Bank in Preston? And for some strange reason, I said yes. I was very thin when I was 17, I didn't really look the part, and had to pad up. And I think the day that I decided it wasn't for me was when a little girl turned to her mother and said, Mummy, he's not Father Christmas, he's too young, and he's got black eyebrows. So it's the mum turned to the daughter and said, "Don't worry, that's not Father Christmas, it's his son."
What a lovely story. Didn't quite match up to the music.
No.
But nevertheless. A fine effort. So, just before we go into the... In fact, no, let's quit while we're ahead. And let's go into now a lovely song. This is Stevie Wonder, Isn't She Lovely? Now, the thing about this song, interesting to know, is that it's always used on beauty competitions where you see a woman walking along in a bikini with a big number on her wrist for some reason. And they always play Isn't She Lovely? And it always spoils it for me, because that song, if you listen to the lyrics, was written about a newborn baby girl. And I love it because I have a daughter, and it reminds me of when she was born, because I used to play it all the time, and it made me weep a little bit like a daddy. Okay, now it's time for my Christmas story. John's were quite sentimental, mine's a bit more action-packed. Okay, the story starts when I received a phone call a couple of years ago from a pilot at RAF Norfolk, who called me to say, "Steve, we in the squadron are big fans of your comedy, and I'd like to take you up in a Jaguar fighter attack aircraft, and I'd like you to fly it."
Wow. What?
So I took a train to Norfolk, and I was picked up in a Ford Fiesta by the pilot. I was taken there and spent a day being debriefed. I took the trousers off. No, I'm joking. He gave me this briefing. I was told about what may happen in the plane. I was fitted out for my anti-gravity suit. I had to wear these trousers that were tied very tightly, and that was nice. And they also told me how to use the ejector seat. I was briefed on that. If the pilot says eject, you must just reach between your legs and pull the lever between the legs, and you'll fire out. But what you mustn't do when you're getting out the aircraft at the end of the flight, put the pin back in the ejector loop before you get out, because if you pull it with your foot as you're getting out, the ejector seat will launch you out of the plane while it's on the tarmac, and you'll die. So I got in the plane and checked all the pins. The plane taxied along the runway with the squadron leader beside us. We took off in tandem, flying side by side. He said, "Where do you want to go?" I said, "I want to go to the Lake District." He said, "Where?" I said, "Windermere." He said, "Okay, I've got permission to low fly over the lake at 100 feet with you." We took off and flew through the clouds. Within 20 minutes, he said, "I'm going to take you down to the M6, just near Carlisle. There's a valley that runs along the side of the motorway, and we can fly side by side with the traffic." We flew through the clouds and came along the M6 up north just before we get to Carlisle, and I was flying alongside the traffic along that valley, and I could see the whites of the eyes of the drivers in their cars. They looked across at me in this Jaguar aircraft. Then we took up very high. Ahead of me was a head-up display. He said, "Do you want to fly the aircraft?" I said, "Yes, I do." I looked up. He said, "Okay, fly it from 8,000 feet down to 6. The throttle's in to your left, and in front of you is the joystick." I took control. He said, "You have control." I said, "I have control." I pushed the lever forward. We started to ascend. I saw these numbers going. We were going from 6,000 to 8,000 feet. He said, "You're losing power. Use the throttle." I pushed the throttle forward. The plane accelerated. We were doing about 450 miles an hour. We went up above the clouds. Whenever we turned, the G-forces were so strong that the trousers, which I'd plugged into the plane when I got on, inflate to squeeze the blood to stop it draining from your body. The G-forces are so strong. Then we flew up into the clouds. Further along, he said, "Take control one more time." He said, "Okay, what I want you to do now is dive through that hole in the clouds you can see ahead of you." So I manually flew towards this hole in the clouds, pushed the lever forward, and the whole plane dropped vertically straight through the hole in the clouds, heading towards the ground. Then I eased the lever back, and we levelled off. And what I forgot to tell you was I was sick. Yes, T-Rex there with Ride a White Swan. Ride a White Swan, of course, was a...
something you can do at Alton Towers.
Something you can do at Alton Towers, that's right. Not a real swan, of course. That is illegal and cruel. I'm not sure what actually Mark Bolan was on about, actually. I think really he was... I'm trying to think, was there a hidden meaning? But I think he was literally talking about riding a white swan. Me and John, people might know, me and John met at drama school. In 1987, I believe. No, 20 years next year.
Yes, because it's our reunion. Next year we're having a reunion 20 years down the line.
Good Lord. Right. And I met John in this house on Malderth Road, and someone said, "There's this bloke here in the first year who can do impressions." And I went, "Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's see him. Let's see who is he." And someone introduced me, and it was like a Mexican standoff, wasn't it?
It was a bit, yeah.
And John said, John did his Bruce Willis, I seem to remember, which was very impressive. Do you want to do a bit, John?
Yeah, come up to the coast, let's have a few laughs. What do you think I'm trying to do, lady? Order a pizza?